Novation Peak, worth it? The hybrid synth I reach for when software feels soulless.
Hey, real quick, when was the last time I sat down to make a simple pad and 3 hours later I was still scrolling through Serum wavetables, hating everything? That was me literally every session. Thin, static, lifeless sounds that vanished the second I added drums. Does that sound like my Tuesday too? Yeah, I know it does. And if I just read your mind, you already know what I'm talking about.
It wasn't just the wasted time, it was that soul-crushing feeling that my tracks sounded like everyone else's. I'd buy another analog Poly, fall in love for a week, then reality hit. Detuning, servicing costs, and four-voice chords that just choked. I tried every so-called warm plugin, every VA, every other hybrid, and they all landed in the same place, either too polite or too digital. I was honestly one more lifeless pad away from selling all my gear and taking up acoustic guitar. Seriously. Then I plugged in the Novation Peak, the first patch I touched, stock in it into pre-filter distortion, open the filter a bit, wiggle wavecable position, and suddenly my monitors were moving air like a pissed-off mini-moog on steroids. This isn't marketing fluff. The Oxford Oscillators give me 60 digital wavetables plus perfect analog waves, then slam them through a real OTA filter and 3 actual analog distortion points per voice. Pre-filter drive creates harmonics the filter can bite into. Post-filter adds grit that blooms, and the global stage just glues everything together. 2 LFOs per voice, 16 total, means every note in a chord can evolve differently. No more robotic, perfectly synced modulation that sounds fake. Add the 16-slot modulation matrix that's actually fun to program because every important destination has a knob, plus reverb and delay that don't sound like cheap pedals. And I was finishing textures in 20 minutes that used to take an entire afternoon. The Peak doesn't sound like a hybrid. It sounds like the best analog synth I've ever heard that also has superpowers.
And look, I'm not the only one saying this. The same week I got mine, 2 different film composers I respect sent me DMs asking if the per-voice LFO thing was as cracked as it seems, and yes, it absolutely is. Synth YouTubers who own everything from Prophet 12 to Quantum still keep the Peak on their desk years later. Go on Gearspace or Reddit. There are thousands of owners and almost no one selling. The few gripes are that it's not a keyboard, get the Summit if you want keys, or that it's pricey. But when I compare it to a Rev 2 desktop, plus a good wavetable synth, plus an analog distortion pedal, Peak is actually cheaper and sounds better together than those do separately. Learning curve? If I can program a bass station or a mini-log, I'll be dangerous on Peak in a weekend. The layout is honestly brilliant, almost no menu diving for the stuff I tweak 90% of the time. And the feature that shocked me most wasn't even the wavetables, it was how musical the 3 distortion points are. I can go from subtle tape warmth to absolute chainsaw and it never sounds harsh or brittle. That alone deleted half my pedal board.
So here's the deal. If I'm tired of tracks that sound good solo but fall flat in the mix, if I want hardware that actually feels alive under my fingers and inspires me to finish music instead of tweaking forever, the Peak is the one. I'm not telling myself to remortgage my house, I'm just saying my own music finally started sounding like it does in my head. Full disclosure, yes, the link below is affiliate, but I'd shout about this thing even if it wasn't. Go try it for yourself. You'll thank me when your next pad gives you goosebumps. See you in the comments.